Okay, part 4, the last page, and this is only going to be 3 problems, so this one's going to be a lot shorter than the others. Okay, so this next one is going to be write the polynomial function with zeros. Okay, so I have 2 zeros here. I've got 3 and 1/2. So if you remember with this one, I'm going to write 2 binomials, put x in the first one, x in the second one, and I have to figure out what number do I put here so that when I plug in 3, I get 0. Well, it would have to be -3. And then over here, I'd have to put -1/2, because 3 minus 3 is 1/2 is 0, and 1/2 minus 1/2 is 0. So now, FOIL x squared, and then the next one's going to be 1/2 x. And I'm going to do this one step at a time because we're going to have to add fractions. Then -3 times x is -3x, and then the last one's going to be positive -3 times 1/2, and so let's do that over here. -3 over 1, and we change it to a fraction, then multiply across. So then we get 3 over 2. So the last one would be 3 over 2. And then we're going to have to add -1/2 and -3/2. So let's write that off to the side here. And again, we have to convert it to a fraction. And we're going to have to make the denominators the same. So I'll have to multiply this times 2 and do the same to the top. 1/2 minus 3, oops, sorry, not 3, minus 3 times 2, which is 6, then 1 times 2, which is 2. And now it's -1 minus 6. And remember with fractions, when you add and subtract, you only do it to the top, not the bottom. Denominators stay the same. So -1 minus 6 is -7 over 2. So now x minus 7 over 2x plus 3/2. And there's our new polynomial. Okay, let's write the polynomial for the next one. So now we have -2. So if we have 3 zeros, that means we're going to do 3 binomials. Let's say I had a 4th and a 5th, and you would write 5 binomials. But here we only have 3. So now the first one's going to have to be x plus 2 to make that 0. Then that will have to be x minus 3 to make that 0. And then the last one will be x minus 4 to make that one 0. Now when you have 3 polynomials, you'll still FOIL, but you only can FOIL 2 at a time. So we can't FOIL the whole thing. FOIL methods only works for when you have 2 binomials. So first step, bring this down just so you don't forget it. I always like to do that. Then FOIL the right 2. So now we're going to have x squared minus 7x plus 12. Okay, then we draw our box. And the reason we do a box is that's how we multiply binomials when we have, or sorry, not binomials, polynomials when it's more than 2. And over here we have 3, and over here we have 2 terms. So it's a 2 by 3, so I make a 2 by 3 box. I put x and 2 here, and then I put the other side of the polynomial here. X squared, -7x, positive 12. Then I fill in the box by multiplying everything. This will be x cubed, 2x squared. Then I'll have 7x squared here. Then I'll have -14x. Looks like 12x, and the last one will be 24. And you simply just take all those terms, add them together, and that's your new polynomial. And you'll notice that the like terms are diagonal from each other. So we can just do our x to the cube first, because that's the only one there. And then it's for the squared terms, 2x squared minus 7x squared, so that'll be minus 5x squared. And then we have -14x plus 12, so that'll be -2x. And then the last one is just 24, plus 24. There's our new polynomial. Okay, so now this next one, as you notice, it says a bonus question. That means it's going to be extra credit on the test. So if you do this one, it'll be extra credit. 10 points. It's quite a bit. Okay, so if you remember this, we have to find both the x, the y, and the z variables to see what they're equal to. Okay, so these 3 variable systems, what you're going to do is you have the equations stacked on top of each other. you take two of them to the left, so rewrite them. X plus y minus 3z equals negative 8. And then we have 8x minus y plus z. Make sure you rewrite it correctly, because if you guys remember these, we make a lot of mistakes just because we don't write them correctly. Okay, so now I need to eliminate a variable, and when I need to choose one, and I'm going to eliminate that variable both on this side and when I get to the other side over here. So make sure you choose wisely. And it looks like I don't have to change anything because these y variables are opposites, so I'll just do the y's. So those cancel out. So now what I'm left with, now that I add everything, I'm going to have x plus x, which is 2x. So I'll have negative 3z plus z, which will be negative 2z. And then the next one will be negative 8 plus 4, which is negative 4. So remember, that's my new equation, number 4. Because originally, the first one was 1, the second one was 2, and the third one was 3. So now I have my new equation 4. So now we need to get our equation 5, and we do that by using the next two equations, our next set, which is 2 and 3. So the first one we eliminated by using 1 and 2, and now we're going to eliminate by using 2 and 3. So rewrite them exactly as they are. X minus y plus z equals 4. Then I have negative 3x plus y plus 2z equals 3. And I have to eliminate y, remember, because if I chose y in the beginning, I can't eliminate z and x on this first step. I will eliminate z and x in the next step, but not now. And it just happens to be, hey, look at that. Y is already set up nicely to where I can eliminate that one. They're already opposites. And if they weren't opposites, I would have to multiply one of the equations times a number in order to make them opposites. Okay, so now x minus 3x is going to be negative 2x. And the next one is going to be z plus 2z, which will be plus 3z. And then the last one will be 4 plus 3, which is 7. And that's our equation number 5. Now, and if you guys remember from this one, make sure you stay organized. Draw arrows, write numbers, label things, just so you don't make a mess and get lost. Okay, so now you take your fourth equation, bring it down here, and you take your equation number 5 and put it right underneath, because we're going to do elimination again. And if you notice, we already have two terms that are opposite each other, these x terms, 2x and minus 2x. So those eliminate without us having to change anything. So now, negative 2z plus 3z, well, that's nice too, because then that equals out to z. So that gives us our first term, because then negative 4 plus 7 will be 3. And boom, there's our first term. Z equals 3. So now we need to figure out x and y. So what you do for the second term is take one of the new equations, either one. Let's take the one on the left, 2x minus 2z equals negative 4. And you're going to plug in that z where there's the z and find x. So now we have 2x minus 2 times 3 equals negative 4. And then we have minus 6 equals negative 4. Add 6 to both sides. Cancels out. 2x equals negative 4 plus 6 will be 2. Divide both sides by 2. And we get x equals 1. There's our our second term. Now to get y, because we have x and z, now we need y, is take one of the original equations from the beginning and plug in your x and your z and then find y. So I'm going to take the second one, which is x minus y plus z equals 4. And I'll go ahead and plug in the x here and the z there. So now I have 1 minus y plus 3 equals 4. Combine the terms on that side. So now I have plus 4 equals 4. Then subtract 4 from this side and this side. Get rid of that. Now I have negative y equals Oh, look at that. 0. Interesting. And then I would have to divide both sides by -1 to get rid of that negative. But of course we know that anytime we multiply or divide with a 0 on the top, we just end up with 0 anyways, right? So it's still 0. Y equals 0. Now great. You do all that, but you need to make sure that you got the right equations. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is take equation 1. Sorry, get that you got the right solutions. In order to do that, you're going to take your equation 1, 2, and 3 and plug all those solutions back in. So let's take equation 1, which is x plus y minus 3z, and I'm going to plug all these in. Okay, so now I have 1 plus 0 minus 3 times 3 equals -8. And then that becomes, let's see, 1 plus, -1 minus 9, because -3 times 3. And that does equal -8. So that one's good. So we're good there. Check equation 2. Equation 2 is x minus y plus z equals 4. So now we'll have 1 minus 0 plus 3 equals 4. And I can already see that that is equal to 4. So that's good. And then our third one, it's always a good sign once you've gone through 2, but you want to make sure all of them work, because it could work for 2 of them and then not work for the last one. Okay, and it could be just that your last step. If it worked for 2 of them, it probably was probably your last step that you made a mistake. Okay, so now plug in your solutions. 0 plus 2 times 3 equals 3. So now, -3, 0 goes away, plus 6 equals 3, and that does equal 3. Good. Great. So it does work. So those are our solutions. Oops. So now, x is equal to 1, y is equal to 0, and z is equal to 3. And that's it. Happy studying. Go ahead and use the other options that you guys have. There's plenty of other options for you guys to use to study with. I listed them out in the beginning. I also listed them in Google Classroom. If you guys want to come in on Tuesday to get some more help, if you guys didn't understand this and you still need some more help, come on through. Okay, you guys have a good weekend.